I'm a bit in the podcast world, and you've been doing it for a long time, very successfully. And I know you do this podcast with Nicole Byer. I'm a big fan of hers as well. And so the idea of
Yes.
you working together is fantastic. And the podcast is called Newcomers. Can you tell me, what does newcomers mean? What's that theme for the podcast? Because it sounds interesting.
Yeah, so each season we're going to watch something we've never seen before, and the first season is all about Star Wars. And neither of us had ever seen
Ever?
any of it. We barely knew anything going in. And we've now seen all of it. And I feel very informed and I feel ready to move on.
What a ringing endorsement of universe.
Well, I mean, there's so much. And like, one of the things that I think about with going through this podcast is like, everybody who's a huge fan of Star Wars, you get like 10 years between each movie, basically. So you're really excited. You're happy that it's like really long. Like there's so much to like figure out and dissect and like new technology. And we're just watching it all in a span of a few months. So like every week I'm watching another Star Wars movie or like a series or like an Ewok movie, which is a spinoff that like is crazy. And we're just spending so much time like watching these movies, talking about them, dissecting them. We have on guests who are really passionate about it, so it helps to balance because we're usually confused or like mad about something, but it's been really fun.
I'm curious, did you have a favorite character after watching all of it, not knowing anything, and then watching all of the Star Wars catalog? Did you come away with like, okay, this is my obsession?
Yeah, I have a couple. Well, Nicole's is Jar Jar Binks. So I think that's amazing because like people were really upset about Jar Jar back in the day.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I love Porgs. I love Babu Frick. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is like really weird for me. I love Babu Frick and I like Yoda. So yeah.
Wow, really going out on a limb with Yoda. I like Yoda.
Well, you have to pick one classic.
You mentioned Ewoks. I remember being very irritated by Ewoks when they showed up in the Star Wars franchise.
See, I love them. I think they're so cute and funny and they're so great. There is you have to Google this. There's a Today Show clip with Al Roker where there are Ewoks and they're I don't know why they're there. I guess it's like just an episode where that was connected somehow, but they start like grinding on him and like grinding on the floor and doing like the moonwalk. And it's amazing.
I heard that this clip existed and we have it ready, and
Okay.
I don't want to disappoint our viewers, so let's take a look at the Ewoks on the Today Show. Just a quick look.
Decorative icing, and then you're just gonna put some blood, gushing along the side. Yeah. Apparently, you need a couple of these guys.
Hey! Oh!
And that was a day where there was really serious news. Be great if there was just a national, incredibly big, that was the day.
It's a tragedy, and then like the Ewoks
power plant blew up in Russia, and they were like, "We're going to get to that, but first, Ewoks dry humping Al Roker." Season 2. Okay, you did Star Wars. What's season 2 going to be?
It's going to be Lord of the Rings.
You've never watched those?
No. And do you know them?
I have to say, I've watched them because over the years, I had, when they were making those movies, we had all the people that were in the movies come on the show and talk about them. So I would watch the movies and I really liked them, but half the time I don't know what anyone's talking about.
I think that's going to be a big problem for us because we can't keep track of storylines or names like at all in Star Wars. And I've heard that there are more names and they all have nicknames in Lord of the Rings, and every movie is 3.5 hours, which is longer than Star Wars. So I'm feeling nervous.
They're beautiful films and the performances are really great. And I find them to be really majestic and they take you away. So in all those reasons, it's great. But then there's a lot of, we must go to build a Shire and find Frau Drachman, and then he'll take us to Mordor. And I don't know what they're talking about. And
can you just reenact them for us and just like have that be what the podcast is?
Yeah, there's just so many different shires and places. And then there are elves that don't like, everyone's sort of racist towards each other. Like elves don't like, there's always these biases. And you think like, why do elves not like, whatever, gnomes? And why do gnomes hate trolls? And why do fairies?
Yeah.
It's craziness. But you don't have to always know what's going on.
Well, that's good. because I just won't, I'm sure. I try to I pay very close attention, and sometimes I even record myself watching the movie as like a watch along that people can listen to. So it helps me like focus, and I'm like, who's that guy? And then my husband will explain something, and I'll still then go into the podcast and have no idea what I watched. Like it's very hard for it to stay in here.
Right. Well, it's not just you. It's just I'm constantly having trouble knowing what's happening in a movie. Even simple movies.
Me too.
Wizard of Oz, they're literally following a yellow brick road. And I'm like, what's happening? They're saying, no, what are you talking about? My children are saying, calm down. This is what they're still on the yellow brick road and the witch is trying to stop them. And other than that, it's pretty linear. Why?